Our Shalom, first and foremost, we give all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rukwah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who were well. Peace and salutation to the elect Akim on the four corners, pushing truth and sincerity. Peace be unto you. This is a lesson about how your beloved Caesar Borgia is not coming. In fact, you're going to have a black man is going to come. His name is Yahweh Shai. He is the Savior. He is the Hamashiach, who you call the Christ. He is the one that's going to come and put vengeance on this earth. Luke 12 and verse 49. Says, I am come. This is Yahweh Shai speaking about how the Most High is not coming to send out flowers, sprinkles, gumdrops, and jelly beans. I am come to send fire on the earth, and what will I if it be already kindled? So Yahweh Shai says he's come to send fire on the earth. Fire is not something that's going to be very pleasant. People think hell is in the middle of the earth. That's hell. If for all of you who aren't right, is that fire that he's going to send on the earth. It's Matthew 10 and 26. No, it is 10 and 6, I believe. Salakia. Here we go. Matthew 10 and 34. This is again in red letters, indicating that it is Yahweh Shai speaking, the Son of Man. The Son of the Most High. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. So he says, I've come to send a sword. A sword, fire, those are instruments of war. You use a sword to cut. Fire, you burn down villages. That's the act of war. He's not coming. This is a king that's not coming to, go before the UN Council and say, yeah, man, let's come together and, talk this thing out. Maybe y'all can have some nuclear missiles and maybe y'all don't need to have it. And he's not coming to negotiate. The day of vengeance is in his heart. The scripture says he's coming to attack, kill, murder. His garment is going to be basically drenched in blood. This is, you get Isaiah 63 and 1. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? That is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? This is talking about Yahweh Shai speaking. I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me, for I will tread them in mine anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore mine own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld me. And I will tread down the people in mine anger, and make them drunken in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth. So Yahweh Shai is speaking about killing, murder. This mass murder right here. If you thought that your Pol Pot, your Mao Zedongs, your Hitlers, do you think they had a big body count? Wait till you see Yahweh Shai body count. Nobody's gonna have a higher body. He gonna make those other genocides look like a regular murder on the news in your local city. Somebody gets shot and don't think about it. This is going to be huge. Put all those mass murders together, they're not going to have a high. Matter of fact, it's going to be so many people. He's going to have to call some of the fowls of the air to come and partake in this mass murder. This is Revelations 19 and verse 17. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great God, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. So this is the calamity that's going to befall the inhabitants of the earth, those that are destined to be saved, the ones that are going to be saved, the ones that's not, whose names are not written in the book of life. It's not going to be a very beautiful thing for you, because Yahushua, he came, he was crucified, he was ridiculed while he was on the cross. He wants his vengeance, as it said in Isaiah 63. He said the day of vengeance is in his heart. And in fact, to give you an idea how much that day burns in his heart, it says, Revelations 1 and verse 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. This is talking about Yahushua, the Son of God. And they also which pierced him, and all the kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so. So those that pierced him, the ones that pierced him, who were the ones that pierced? It was the Romans who pierced Yahushua, who the world calls Jesus Christ, while he was sitting up on the cross. Those were the ones that pierced him. So every eye is going to see him. So he's going to come back and have vengeance on those two as well. And the earth is going to wail. They're not going to be rejoicing, saying, yay, yay, fine. No, it's going to be a very, very scary time. You're going to be, matter of fact, over here in Ezekiel chapter 9. Ezekiel chapter 9 and verse 1. And he cried also in mine ears with a loud voice, saying, cause them that have charge over the city to draw near, even every man with his destroying weapon in his hand. And behold, 6 men came from the way of the higher gate, which lieth toward the north, and every man a sword weapon in his hand. And one man among them was clothed with linen, with a writer's inkhorn by his side. And they went in and stood beside the brazen altar. And the glory of the God of Israel was gone up from the cherub, whereupon he was to the threshold of the house. And he called to the man clothed with linen, which had the writer's inkhorn by his side. And Yahweh said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And to the others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city, and smite, let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children, and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. So they were not discriminating. They was slaughtering, killing, and murdering. This is talking about the end time. This isn't going to be a very, very pleasant time for people that think that, you know, the Son of God is going to come back and just, you know, come dun 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 dun, and, you know, just beam you up, you know, in the rapture, and then all of a sudden, you know, wait for a fucking temple to be rebuilt over there in that gutter rat land. It's none of that happening. This is going to be a very, very interesting time. Hopefully, I am and other brothers who are doing this work are the elect, that we can be able to look down upon these chariots and behold and laugh at the scoffers that were scoffing us. And on that note, I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Ruach HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders, and GMS who grew well. Peace and salutations to the elect Akim. Shalom.